Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Covering both sides of the big issues with the analysis you trust on News Radio 1040 WHO.
You've heard all of the controversy over TikTok and its connection to China, but despite that fact, it's hugely popular, particularly with kids and teens. And now, because of its popularity, there's growing interest in how the social media platform impacts the brain, because kids and teens are taking a look at these bite-sized videos. And is TikTok brain basically a thing? Something that where kids' attention spans are being affected by TikTok. Let's talk to a mental health expert. You've heard him on the program before. He's got more than 3 decades of experience. Dr. Vince Callahan is back on the Davis and Family Dentistry Newsmaker line. Dr. Callahan, always great to talk with you. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I love being on your show.
Well, I'll tell you, this is such an interesting topic. Is this really a thing in your mind, TikTok brain?
It is. I've actually studied the brain and how it works these last 13 years, both at the doctoral level and postdoctoral level. And kids who start out on screens early on have developmental issues. That's a fact. Kids who get on screens early get addicted to screens. That's a fact. And reality of life is, if you look at a brain imaging, SPECT imaging or whatever, you'll see the parts of the brain that light up when somebody is a drug addict, and when someone who is on a screen, those parts of the brain light up just like each other. So that tells me that the pleasure centers of the brain are firing both in an addiction and in a screen environment, which is scary.
Right. And so you've got these pleasure centers firing, Dr. Callahan, and they're firing with these little videos that might run about 15 seconds. So what's the long-term implications then? You know, I start thinking immediately of a kid sitting in a class that's going to go 45 minutes and wondering if they're going to be able to track. What do you think?
No, they can't track, because when you get used to that dopamine burst and you get that feeling of, wow, I really like this and this is really cool and all that kind of stuff, and that dopamine push, it's kind of like looking, if I can give a visual image, if I had the choice of my favorite ice cream all the time or to eat liver and onions, which one am I going to choose? I'm going to choose the ice cream. So if I'm going to sit in a classroom and listen to a teacher teach me for 45 minutes versus being able to have 15-second burst of dopamine in my brain, which one am I going to gravitate to? So then the way the brain works, it works on an operation of using or losing it. So whatever you do repeatedly, it creates longer, stronger pathways. So now it becomes automatic behavior instead of just something that we're learning. So you get into not even realizing what you're doing. So, yeah, it's a real thing.
So, and I noticed, Dr. Callahan, in this article in the Wall Street Journal, they talk about young people who binge watch the short form content. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we always go through life thinking all things in moderation. And is that the key here? That, okay, your kid can access these videos for a little while, but they just can't be on it all the time? What do you think?
Absolutely. Well, right now, research shows that the average child is on a screen 4 to 6 hours per day. That's too much. Bring this back down to 1 to 2 hours a day, and now you're in moderation and you're okay. But this 4, 5, 6, 7 hours a day on an average is way too much, especially for developing brain. It really impacts social skills, problem solving, communication skills. It really impacts the developing brain to have that much stimulus coming at it. And research is also showing there's a link to screen time and autism. And so that one's even a little more scary. So, yeah, I think you have to do it in moderation. You can't just say to the child, now quit, because just like if you did that with a drug addict to its drugs, you're going to get a very adverse reaction. And so what I try and tell parents is wean them off a little bit, just start backing it up. And one of the greatest things you could ever do in your family is to spend just 1 hour a week, no screens, no TV, no nothing, just us as a family, even if we're just sitting on the couch doing nothing, some kind of form of attachment in the family, 1 hour a week, you'll see your whole and culture of your entire family change.
He is a mental health expert and a go-to on topics like this for me. His name is Dr. Vince Callahan. Dr. Callahan, thanks very much for your comments on this really important topic.